Hey, Buckle here, and welcome back to Buckle Music. It's been a while since we've made a video, but today we are going to be looking at the SPD-SX drum sampling pad from Roland. So that's the SPD-SX, which is the second version because the original was called the SPD-S. Now, this is an amazing piece of kit. I've had it for a little while now, so I know a few tips and tricks, and I want to share them with you over the series of videos that we are going to create. But this video is basically just an overview of the drum pad, its basic functionality, what it can do. That way you can gauge whether it's the thing for you or not, and then you can ask questions, maybe if you have more, and we will make more videos about it in the future to help you answer any questions that you have. But without further ado, let us begin. So essentially the way this is we have 9 triggers in total on the actual pad. It goes trigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And with inside of each of those triggers, in any particular bank, you can have a sound. So if we were to just go up to number 7, which is a basic acoustic drum kit, you would have a crash, a splash, ride, floor, high tom, low tom, open hats, closed hats. You might have snare and kick. So that's its bare bones functionality, just using sounds as like an electronic drum kit, but it has more functionality than that. You can also copy full wave files because it does have 2 gigabytes of internal storage. So if you want full loops, for example, like that, which is lots of fun. So maybe you are a band that uses lots of loops, or a artist that uses backing tracks. You can have full tracks. I can't show you all the ones we use, but for, in some of our songs we play, I have full. There we go. Alive in E literally plays. See if it'll play quickly. Plays a full backing track that will go for say 3.5 minutes, and you can use that to play to. Because moving to the back panel, you have a left and a right main out. You also have a left and a right sub out. So essentially you have 4 main audio outputs. On top of that, you also will have 4 triggers, but 2 mono or 2 stereo inputs. So you may not be able to see, I actually have a foot trigger here. I'll put an image up now of what that looks like, and it is linked into the back using the triggers. So there's only 2 guitar jacks, but they are stereo, so you can wire them to have 2 triggers in each one, or 1 trigger that has 2 areas. For example, some new snare drums might have your mesh, which is 1 trigger, and the rim, which is a 2nd trigger. That would be a stereo input. You would go into one of those inputs, and that would give you 2 triggers. So you can use that and program it within the settings. Then you also have a USB output, which you can either use for the wave manager, so that's one way to copy some of the wave files onto the device that you may make, and the other one is you can actually physically plug your USB memory stick into the back and copy files directly from that. So if you're on the road and you have files on your memory stick and you need to put them on there, you don't need a computer, which is great. It has a built-in wave manager. We will get to that later. So that is very helpful as well. On top of that, you also have your headphones out, which is normal as well. What I might do, let's see if this works. I'm going to turn old mate around. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. So yes, master left and right out is there. Our sub outputs are there. Headphones output here. We have our 2 trigger inputs. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4. We also have a foot switch selector, which you may want to use like a guitar foot switch, or like those momentary actuation ones. You can use it for pretty much anything. Sounds, you could use it to turn on and off the built-in click, on and off the built-in effects if you want to, which we'll get to later as well. This thing is insane. You also have an audio input, which we'll get to too soon, because you can literally sample straight into this, which is amazing. Then obviously the input level, whether it's a microphone input or a line input, you can Google that if you need to, but essentially microphone input needs higher boosting, whereas your line it's a higher input, so you can, actually maybe it's the other way around. I'm pretty sure line input, I can't remember, one's higher, one's less, so you can up and down. My brain's blanking, it's rather late. Also have our 2 old school MIDI in and out, which is useful as well. Then obviously power, we have our 2 USB. So this one here is currently plugged into my desktop computer that is running, so you can copy wave files directly onto the device, or you can use it as an audio interface. So instead of having like a separate audio interface, so 2 in, 2 out, so running guitar pedals in or out, or like a recording sound, or you could send the actual physical sounds of the drum pad directly to your computer without needing to use the outputs here, which is actually how I'm recording this. This is more just for my headphones so I can hear what's going on. Ears for the win. Then yeah, there's your spot for the USB memory stick. Plug it in, and there's a wave manager. You can copy files directly from your USB stick. It's very, very cool. This is going to be a longer overview, so hopefully we cover everything as much as we can, and that's the reason I want to break this. Like, I could talk for hours about this thing because it's just got so much functionality, but first video, now it's slanted, it's just going to be for you for overview. Let's see if you can still see everything there. I believe you can. Let me just... which one is caught? That one. Beautiful. Okay, it's good enough for now. You see it perfect. Okay, so moving on to our front panel, because there's so much stuff. It's very cool. Power button, obviously, you can see there, hopefully. We have our master volume up and down. We have our headphones volume up and down. Built-in click. Now, this is cool. Yes, you're getting signals, so you can set each... we'll talk about it in a minute. You can set the speed of your click based on what song you're playing. So that's 132, you can't see it. On the screen, it tells you that song is 132 beats per minute, so that's what that is playing at. And then if we come back to 120, slightly slower. So you can set that all yourself as well based on your song. So you might save all your songs and be like, first one's 70, next one's 120, third one might be 170. It's all in there, it's all built in. And when you change, that's 70, go to the next song, 120, bang, straight away. So that's helpful as well. We also have effects, which you've got, I have to do a whole video on that to really explain it, but you can have delays. Let's see if this works. Delay. So there's different effects. You can loop stuff, which is it's fun. You have to play around with it to get a good feel. I haven't done lots with the effects yet, but they're useful. So there's a filter, delay, S-loop, and effect, which you can control yourself. Then we also have pretty much your display panel. These 3 buttons will change depending on what you are actually going to be using. You know, like what menu screen. So if you're on in the menu, that'll take you to system and kit, so that column. So it just depends where you are in the system. This is our kit button. So if you're in the menu, jump back to the drum kit, back to the menu if you want to do that. So kit menu, sampling, which takes you directly to the menu for recording sounds. We'll have to do a whole video on that, but essentially you can record any drum sound or any sound you want and turn it into a loop. So you record a cat screeching after you step on its tail going, you can be like, every time you hit the pad. It's good fun. Pretty much anything you can record, it'll play. So that's cool. We have our quick menu, which brings up almost like a sub menu of sorts. So holding the quick menu there brings up like a kit chain. So let's say you're doing a set list and you're playing song in bank 4, a song in bank 20, a song in bank 68, and back to a song in bank 1. You can build a kit chain. And then if you turn kit chain on, select which set you're playing, and it'll be in that order when you jump through kits. So that's helpful. You can set the kit chain settings as master effects. You can copy pads around. It's all in there, and it's pretty easy. We can get more in-depth if they would like. It's relatively self-explanatory, but I'm happy to do a video breaking that all the way down. Then obviously we have our navigational arrows. So in the menu, right, left, up, down. As you see, exit takes you back a page. So if you're in menu, kit, you go exit back to kit, exit again to home. Then you also have your bank select, forward, back, which these also work inside your menu when you're selecting options. So if we were to modify, say we want to change that pad there, we would use that arrow to change which one. So that's what we're using for cycling through which wave is selected. Then also you've got there's 4 lights here. You won't be able to see them now, but if I hit my foot pedal, you should be able to see that number 3 lights up. That's just an indicator to say which trigger is being used in the same way that these lights here light up when you hit a drum. Same thing. And then there's also foot switch, same light. So if you hit foot switch option 1, it'll light up. Foot switch option 2 will light up. I don't have mine plugged in currently, but that's what it would do. So that's essentially the overview of what this can do. I currently have on the acoustic kit, this foot is this kick. It's just linked. It's good fun, so you can play with that. Then there's like your dubstep sounds. You've got drum and bass. You've got hip hop and all that. So that's very cool. All the sounds built in. Now, moving on to the actual physical pads, because this is important. Let's come to, I think that's a dubstep is a good way to explain that. Now, don't get Don't get confused with the sub outputs with what I'm about to talk about. They're different and they don't work together yet. But inside our setting, let's say we're like, I want to change what this pad does. So we go menu, we go to the pad options, which is where we are in the middle. So at the moment, now we can hit the pad to select which one we want to work on. So let's say we want to work on that one there. Oh, sorry, I didn't talk about this button. It's all sounds off. Cancels everything. It's a get out of jail free. Whatever's playing, off. Brilliant. Save your life many times. And then there's this one here, which is pad check, which if you hold it down and hit a pad, it'll just play through the headphones output so you can test what a pad is before you play it live. And also, it's almost like if you hold it, it's a shift. So if you press up and down, it'll jump 10 at a time while holding that button. So 1, hold it down, it goes 10. But that's pretty self-explanatory. If you have any issues, comment and I will break it down more. This is going to be a long video. Hope you don't mind. And I'm trying to go through it fast. I could literally spend hours, like I said. But back to the pads. At the moment, the main output is this S wobble full 8. That's that roll bob 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 sound on this pad. So that's the first wave sound in this pack. But each trigger, like I said, can have 2 sounds. So now if I come over and click along these bottom ones, it says main, mode, and sub. So if we come to sub out, that goes to the second wave file, which will play at the same time when I hit that trigger. But just because it's the sub wave, it does not come out the sub out. It always will go out whatever that pad is triggered to. So you can patch where pads go, but you can't separate main out, the main wave, and the sub wave to go to separate outputs. They both go to your main out or your sub out together, depending on where you've got the pad program to go, which can be annoying because I bought this thinking that I could separate them and I had to come up with another way to do it, but that will be a whole video on its own because I do backing tracks and I need a stereo send and I need clicks and I need cues and I need to be able to send all different sounds to different places on one pad. So I found ways to get around that. We'll make a video on that later. But what it will be, if you have a listen to this, when I play it, I'll hit it twice because at the moment it's set to be hit to play, hit to stop. So it's not like a drum where you hit it again, it'll play again, hit it again, play again. This is hit once to play, hit again, it will stop. But you'll hear a boo sound that plays over the top in the background both times I hit it. That sound. So that is currently that second sub pad out. So if I change that, now it's the piano sound. See, that's currently the sub wave. So what it's good for is if you need a drop, you can be like. So if you want the 2 sounds and you want that to play the sub, that to play at the start as an extra element, but then also to hit at the end as a dynamic, you can use it that way. So you might want to use it like that. Up to you, whatever you want to do. So let's exit out of that. Cool. So that is the sub out. There's also a lot more in here. So let's say we're setting this pad up. We might want to change its volume because maybe that particular wave is louder than the others. We need it to be down, so we can change our volume. We can pan it, so all of it will go out the left side or all out the right side. You can do mute groups. So you see when I go to mute group, everything lights up. So if I hit this one, but then I hit this one, that should not be the case. Oh yes, they all work together, that's correct. So they're different groups. Let's come out, all sounds off. See how they change? So that one plays, and because these are all the same mute group, if I hit any of these pads, stop the one that's playing in the mute group and start the one I've hit. like that. But these three are in a different group or not at all, so I can play them as well. So light stays on to show the stuff playing. It's not stopping this one from playing. So that's a mute group, and then also inside of that you can do tempo sync, so you can actually make the wave files sync relatively well to the tempo. I haven't had that work effectively the way I need it to work, but you may be able to. My situation is different, so that's why they've added so many elements. Some will work for some people, some will work for others. In the middle option is a mode, so you can make it a single. So if I come to this one, it's a single, so every time you play it, it's going to play the through, and you can play it twice over the top. It's just a single shot trigger, but you may want to change that to be a phrase, which means it doesn't really work in this case, but it's cutting it when I hit it the second time. It's changed to the on off. So these are just templates, so they're preset options. But if you want to modify that, so we're back to single, play it as many times as you want, but we could have it on loop, on. So it's cancelled our template now. Same sound on and off. And if I keep hitting it, it's just going to keep looping and playing over the top of itself. Messy. So if you want loop on, then you probably need it to be the next option, which is shot. Now if I go alternate, that's the on off, so that might be good for your loop. So now if we turn loop on, so that could be useful as well. Then you got your dynamics, so it doesn't matter how hard if I hit it, doesn't matter how hard I hit it now, because I've turned dynamics off, it's going to be at full volume. But dynamics on, actually let's put it back, sorry, because it's on offing still, single shot, there we go. Dynamics on, dynamics off, doesn't matter how hard or soft, it's 100%. And then we have our poly, or our mono, which means how many times it will play over the top of itself. That's not going to work with that sound, but it's all in the manual anyway, so I need to fix that back to poly. So let's tempo sync off, mode, poly, perfect. Sub out, same thing, it's the second sound, but you don't get all the options. So in this case, it's currently on wobble, its volume is at 74 because it needs to be a little less than the main sound, and it's panned to the center. Those are the only options you get for the sub wave specifically. So that's in there. Like I said, we could make a video on this video forever by breaking down each of these things, but we're just going to stop with those basic things, except I do want to show you inside of the utilities tab. You will see there is an option for the wave import. So if I was to put a USB in the back, I can actually go into that. It would bring me a list of all the wave files in the root directory of the USB. I can hit copy and copy them directly to a pad or just onto the device as well. So hopefully that's been helpful. That's just an overview of some of the possibilities of this thing. It can go a lot further, and you might have things in your head that you need it to do and you don't know if it can. Please post in the comments what you are looking for and what you're wondering if it can do, or if there's a way to make it do something you need because you've already spent the money and you're like, how do I make it do what I bought it to do? I've just spent X hundreds of dollars. I need to justify it. Happy to try and help, make a video for you if I can. And but yeah, we'll see how we go. But I am Buckle. This has been an overview of the Roland SPD-SX. I think we're like at nearly 20 minutes just for an overview. So I do apologize if it's been a little draggy, but it's just got so much stuff in it, and I'm trying to smash through it as fast as I can. But yeah, we're going to leave it there. I am Buckle. This is Buckle Music. Please, if you do like this video, if you find it helpful, please click like, subscribe, favorite, all that sort of stuff. It just helps us out, and whole Buckle music concept that I've been doing is still very new, but I'm pretty excited about it and to do some music with you guys. Something else I do actually want to comment on quickly is I want to show you guys how to actually make samples. So I've actually got the drum kit over there. It's not the best drum kit in the world. It's just sort of a practice kit, but to show you that we can use that to make some samples for this. So it's pretty good. But yeah, I can teach you guys other things if you're not sure, like how to rename banks, how to use kit chains, how to use the effects, how to program it to do what you need. So just let me know what you guys want, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.